Hi, I'm Ricka Brandon, nationally recognized recruiting and retention expert. And I just wanted to give you a quick tip this week that I think will help with some of you who are struggling with seasonal hiring and trying to compete against those big dogs like Amazon, Target, Walmart, and UPS that are trying to hire hundreds of thousands of people and have a lot deeper pockets than you do. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 F's of seasonal hiring. And frankly, 3 F's is just fun, right? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is flexibility and how we can be flexible and use our nimbleness as a small company to our advantage. Then I'm going to talk about fun. How can we make it fun for people to be part of our organization and be part of this crazy, chaotic holiday season? And the third F is, of course, finances. We realize you don't have endless pockets and you can't just keep paying more and more. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas on how you can make your pay more appealing and things to think about. So without further ado, the first tip is flexibility. So what I want you to think about now, and we are in an unprecedented time of challenge, and it's difficult to find people that have that experience we need and want. So we need to be flexible and we need to think outside the box to some extent. So what I would encourage you to do is think about some of the things that we're seeing a little bit about in the news, but aren't being utilized by most small businesses simply because they seem kind of like a hassle or it's not what we've always done. So I want to really challenge you and also encourage you to spend a little time thinking more about how can I make this work versus that'll never work, because you have to shift your thinking. Finding and hiring great people isn't easy right now, and it's probably not going to be easy in a few months either. So we need to start thinking more strategically and intentionally about how we do this. And this is a really great way for you to test and grow your skills at doing this. So the first thing I'm going to say is that we're going to look at flexibility, and that means hiring teenagers. Now, some of you might have OSHA requirements and stuff where people need to be 18 or 21. So of course that doesn't work, but lots of companies can hire teenagers to do the work. So think about those really simple, repetitive things that you can train someone on relatively quickly. And think about the teenagers maybe you yourself have some teenage children and they have friends that would like to make some extra money. At the end of the day, if you can work around, sports schedules or activity schedules and give them time to work, it's awesome. I mean, you can get a group of people that are very excited about a lower rate of pay than somebody with a lot of experience would be even considering. The other thing is to look at retirees. And I don't just mean retirees from your organization. I'm talking about people who retired, but maybe want to travel or they want to do something big for their family for Christmas. So they're looking for a little bit extra money. Or if they're anything like my father and father-in-law, they're a little bit bored and they like talking to people and they want to get out of the house. So I think that's something where you really should think about, how can I connect with people who are retired but are still interested in working, and how can I make that work? Because they're going to have a lot of flexibility in their schedule. Now, granted, if it's grueling manual labor, that's not going to appeal to a lot of them. But for many of you, there are things like customer service, talking on the phone, organizing things, packing, things like that can be done by somebody who isn't going to be lifting 50 pounds 150 times a day. So that's the thing I would just say. Now, if you want to get really outside the box and also help your community, I encourage you to think about athletic groups, community groups, and maybe those ones that come knocking at your door that are asking for you to sponsor a tournament or buy some t-shirts and say, hey, are you guys looking to do some fundraising? Because we could use some help. And this is a really critical time, because now instead of hiring 1 or 2 people, you're hiring a whole team of them. And I had a longtime assistant who worked for me who was also a college athlete, and they worked at different stadiums and they sold beverages and concessions to make money for the team. So this happens, people are doing it. You just haven't thought about it yet. So I would encourage you to reach out and see, hey, is there some way that we can combine this where you guys are raising money for your team and I'm getting the help I need, right? Win-win. So that's the first one. Be flexible. I need you to think outside the box and get a little bit creative and think more about, how do I make this work versus that'll never work. I've never done that before, because that is how you lose the game if you think like that. So we want to win the game. All right. Number 2 is fun. The reality is, if it is miserable to come to work, everybody's unhappy, everybody feels like it's insurmountable, it's just everybody's complaining, people will quit, right? So you might already be seeing that where you have turnover and stuff. So I encourage you to think about ways to make it fun. And that can be simple things like bringing in lunch or giving everybody a Starbucks or Caribou gift card, doing something to reward the hard work, recognize and appreciate what they're doing, and bring some fun. It is amazing how much a little appreciation and recognition will go to helping people be able to continue to do hard things. So I encourage you, when you're like, well, I can't afford to pay a $10 Starbucks card to everyone, how much that turnover is costing you and how much not being able to fill those positions is costing you in lost productivity. And suddenly a few $100s of Starbucks gift cards doesn't seem so bad. So I would also encourage you to really incorporate, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but a way to recognize great work from peers. So really encouraging people to recognize like, hey, you know what? Steph went above and beyond the call of duty and she helped me figure this out. And recognize people. And lots of us, myself included, are very natural at recognizing people and appreciating them. Some people aren't quite so naturally great at it, but they will likely get recognized. They'll love the feeling and they'll start to get into it. So again, I don't want you to overthink this and overcomplicate it. It can literally be a deck of index cards, write something great they did, and then each person gets some, if they're recognized, they get some small token, right? It could be a candy bar. It could be, money for the vending machine, whatever. I don't care, less than $5, something that recognizes it. And yes, for those of you who are thinking, oh, they're just going to nominate their friends so they can get the prize. Who cares? They're participating. This is not the time to be bending over to pick up a penny when dollars are falling out of your pocket, right? There will be many people that are very into it and want to recognize. And right now in the workforce in America, people are hungry to be recognized for their hard work because everybody is tapped out and stressed out. The other ways you can make it fun are by doing random drawings, catch people doing something right. Those people who are nominated, then maybe do a drawing where there is, gift cards to a local restaurant, or maybe there's a big prize where it's, a staycation or a trip to a nearby city or event tickets. I don't care. Something about your workers that would be interesting to them and they would want to participate. It might even be a $500 Amazon gift card that's going to light everyone up. That is probably more true in positions that are hourly, where that kind of money really motivates and excites them. And it's something that you can do, and it doesn't require a big amount of effort, right? You can type it in less than a minute on Amazon and have it ready to deliver to whoever you want. So that is the second F, bring the fun, right? And we need to do that. And we really need to spend time thinking about how do we create a fun culture? And if you yourself are like, I can't even imagine spending time on that, look around your team and think, who is somebody who always brings the fun? Because most teams have that person who's kind of like the Pied Piper, right? Like everyone will follow them. They're excited. Everybody's excited. Tap that person, maybe give them a little bit extra pay. Maybe you don't need to, but have them be kind of the chief fun officer for the season. And have them come up and give them a budget. Like maybe they have $1,500, maybe they have $2,000, but we want them to bring the fun because if they're excited, they're going to involve their friends, etc. So that is the second big tip. Now, the third thing is finances. Reality is most people are working to make money. I know you're shocked to hear that, right? But with that, there's a couple of things we can do that aren't, raising the pay. So one of the things that's been really emerging, especially with the advent of Uber and Lyft and people being able to work and get paid the same day, is on-demand pay. And there is on-demand pay systems. There's many of them. So just look at your payroll provider, maybe reach out to them and ask them like, hey, do we have an on-demand pay option or a partner we can work with? The answer is probably going to be yes, because it's been a thing for several years, unless you're using a really kind of antiquated payroll system. I would say for the most part, if you're using, QuickBooks or Gusto or any of those ones that most people are using, it's going to be an option. So on-demand pay basically just means that once they've earned that pay, they can take it early. So instead of waiting till the 15th for payday, they can take it on the 11th if they need it. And in this time where people are working seasonally, they want to capitalize on deals that are happening, and they need to execute on it now. That is going to be a huge opportunity for them to be able to get that money right away. And surprisingly enough, you might think it leads to people taking their money and quitting. It actually has shown to improve retention because people appreciate that flexibility. And the reality is this is something that's beneficial, not just during the holidays, but all year round, because people, like most Americans, can't survive a $400 unexpected expense. Like they just don't have that kind of money in savings, which is a very sad state for our economy, But it also shows that by you giving that on-demand pay option, you are giving your employees and your team members the chance to correct something before it becomes a major disaster in their life. So I think it's something you should consider for the long term, not just for right now, but it is something when most people are taking seasonal jobs because they want to have extra money that you should really look at adding on. I don't think it takes a lot of time or effort, but it is something that will be much appreciated. Okay, so that was my 3 tips on how to make your seasonal hiring experience better. The first one was flexibility. Think about how can I make this work? Not that'll never work. The second one is fun. How can we make it fun? Because the reality is most of the American workforce is, well, and probably the global workforce is starved for work feeling fun and not just heavy. There's a reason the Great Resignation is happening, and it is because people are feeling burnt out, exhausted, and there isn't much fun with work right now for many people. So simple things, simple acknowledgments, and simple treats and treasures can make people feel much happier about going to work and excited about it, dare I say. And the third one is, of course, finances. And yes, if you can pay more to compete with your neighbors, that's a great thing. The reality is some of you are tapped out. And so an option is to offer that on-demand pay where they can access that money quickly and easily before payroll, so they don't get stuck and they, are able to capitalize on some opportunities they want without racking up their credit card debt. All right. Again, I'm Ricka Brandon with RecruitRetainRock.com, and I hope this helps you tackle your seasonal hiring challenges and gives you a chance to look at how you're going to win that war for talent all through the year. Have a great day.